This is RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Hey guys, so today I'm going to be going over the Pixel 2 XL review, and it is the most disappointing smartphone of the year. Wait, what? This phone, the phone that every YouTuber goes on and on about how great the camera quality is, it's the most disappointing phone of the year? Yeah, it is. Let me start out by explaining what disappointment means before you kill me in the comments section. Disappointment means that I'm not saying this isn't a bad phone or it's a good phone. I'm saying that it's the most disappointment from what it could have been and what we end up getting, especially with all of the issues. Now, before I get to why it's a disappointment, I'm going to start off by saying all of the good features about this phone, because it is a good phone. I will say that automatically, it is a good phone. For me, it's just no longer a top 10 smartphone of the year phone because of three big alternatives to it. So let's go over the first part. What about the camera quality? Everyone says it's the best camera quality, bar none, all yada 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 yada. Well, let's go over that. In the daytime, yes, it is the best camera quality by far. I carry around the Pixel 2 XL, the Note 8, and the iPhone X at all times with me usually. And every time I have all three of those around and it's a daytime photo, I always pull out the Pixel 2 XL. It's the best camera quality, it's going to be amazing, it's going to look great. That is definitely my go-to one. So for daytime shots, you better believe I'm getting this phone out. But with low light, it has been a different issue. And this is changing. So that again, that's a benefit of it, is that Google does try to realize issues and updates it. But unless you're tech savvy and you can do things yourself, you might not get these big features. So with Android 8.1, one thing you're going to realize from a lot of YouTubers after their 6 months review and after the buzz and all that kind of stuff is that they've dramatically improved the low light from what it was to what it now will be. On Android 8.0 and the camera comparison we did with the Note 8, this was the Pixel shot. And the big thing about that was that you have a huge lens flare. That lens flare is present in every shot unless you change with the EV and mess around with it, which I'm sure a lot of people did when reviewing the camera. And when I tell you guys, hey, listen, when manufacturers see what DisplayMate's credentials are, they can put it towards that. When they see what DxO Marker's credentials are for their test, they can work with it towards that. And that is a benefit since you don't have any things with a spotlight or anything with a light in the low light shot for DxO Mark, you don't get that lens flare docking points. But even so, Google does listen, and now you get a much better shot in low light. So this is what you will get with Android 8.1. However, unless you're on the beta preview program, you're not getting that now. You might get that by the end of the year, you might get that next year, we don't know. But this is something that this is why you get an Android phone, to get the latest updates, right? But that's just software improvements. That's all of this stuff that they are giving now compared to what they were getting before. Now, the other thing I want to say is that the battery life is good, but it's not the best out there. I have several phones from the iPhone 8 Plus to the Note 8 to the S8 Plus. We are currently testing out the V30, the Huawei Mate 10, so we'll see about those, but that have better battery life than the Pixel 2 XL. So by you getting the bigger screen phone, you think you're going to have a much better battery life, but it's okay, it's good, but it's not the best. Mine usually gives out on me between 6 and 8 p.m., so I do not get to the end of the day. I am a power user, so you have to keep that in mind. Now, all of the issues. So this is why it's such a disappointment, because this phone should have been on par with Apple and Samsung this year, bar none. You have a lot of other competitors actually taking some of Pixel XL2's thunder with the OnePlus 5T, with the Razer phone. You even had the Essential phone picking at it for a little bit too, and then the V30. And really, it should have raised this year all the way to the top, and it didn't because of all of the issues. If you had a Pixel XL2 without no issues, great, you're one of the lucky few, to be honest. And a lot of YouTubers were in that ballpark. I was not fortunate enough to be. I have had many issues from the display. I had the little reboot issue. I updated it, so I solved it myself. But again, if you're not tech savvy, it might have gone differently. Not to mention, I had, as you saw on Twitter, I had the worst customer experience ever with them. They didn't know what they were talking about. They didn't know anything about how security patches work and how all of these things work. And I had to update it all myself, because if you don't have the security patch for November, you should get into that, because it's a big threat to your Wi-Fi if you don't have a security patch update from November on any Android phone or even your iPhone. So that's a big reason why red flags go up with me. It's like, oh my God, I can handle this. I can take care of this myself. But for an average user, it gets harder and harder for me to recommend a Pixel XL2 because of all the display issues, the reboot issues, the connectivity issues. It's just so many issues that have plagued this phone since launch. And it's one of the reasons I don't recommend it. When people ask me like, oh, what about this one? I'm like, look, if you're gonna get it, fine, but you know, you might be calling me up for issues because of all the things that it's had. Other simple things where it should have been on par with Apple and Samsung is wireless charging. And Jesus Christ, Google, next year, one simple solution. Flip these. This is glass, this is metal. That's all you have to do. Give us wireless charging. $800 plus smartphone without wireless charging in 2017 is ridiculous. And if that goes in 2018, it would even be worse. So that's all you have to do for 2018. Just flip these two. This is glass, this is metal. You have your wireless charging solution. But that is a big thing. And here's the biggest reason why I don't recommend this phone and why I don't see it in the top 10 on next week's video when we go over the top 10 smartphones of 2017. And that's just this. With the Pixel 2 XL, there are better alternatives. If you want a better battery life, great screen quality with no issues, the OnePlus 5T. It doesn't have as good of a camera, but it does stand out a lot, and it's over $300 cheaper than it. That's impressive. Also, the Razer phone. The Razer phone has way better audio quality than this phone and pretty much every other smartphone. Has a better display in my opinion because of the refresh rate. I know it doesn't have OLED, but look at all the problems with OLED that this phone has. And it has the biggest battery out there, 4,000 milliamps. So if you want an all-day battery life, that's a better alternative. But the easiest better alternative to the Pixel 2 XL and the phone that will be in the top 5 smartphones of the year next week is definitely going to be the Pixel 2. The Pixel 2 is $200 cheaper than this version, and it has none of the issues. It is just amazing. And yes, you could blame it on LG, you could blame it on whoever, all the different part makers for this phone, but overall, it's Google's fault. They should have quality assurance. They should really have quality control on all of these products that come out with their name on it. And that's the bottom line. At the end of the day, like when Samsung had all those issues last year, it was on them. It didn't matter that other people made certain parts, it was on them. All these issues are on Google. And that's why it's the biggest disappointment of the year for me. And one of the biggest reasons why it's good, but it could have been the best. Just with some fine tuning and not having any issues, this phone really could have been on par with the top phones of the year. And for me, it just won't make my top 10 because I myself had so many issues with it. If you haven't, great. I know there was a lot of people commenting on some of our other videos like, the Pixel XL2 is the best phone, and I keep saying Pixel 2 XL and all that kind of stuff and all these different variations of it. You know what I mean. Overall, I think that it could have been the best, and that's why it was a disappointment for me, because this could have been Google's year, and they stumbled and they tripped and they didn't make it out of the gate right. Now again, a lot of updates are coming. The 8.1 update has a lot of great improvements on it. You get the saturated screen, you get the fix in the lens flare, but that's not the phone you're getting right now. You're getting the 8.0 version and waiting on these updates. So I wouldn't get it till January if I were to be honest, unless there's some really good deals this holiday season, or unless Google drops it $100, I would wait out. And I do have to thank Google because before I leave you guys, they did solve one of the biggest issues of Android 8.0, and that is they finally fixed the burger emoji. Thank you guys as always for watching. Leave all your comments in the description down below. This has been RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Thank you for watching our video. If you liked it, why don't you go ahead and subscribe up there. Make sure you follow us on social media right here. And of course, check out our latest video up there. And right down here, you're going to find the perfect video for you. Or at least that's what YouTube tells me. Thanks again.